Day everyone. Here in our video, we will discuss on where did the first Catholic Mass take place in the Philippines. In this case study, we will not focus on the significance of the site of the first Catholic Mass in the Philippines and use it as a historiographical exercise in the utilization of evidence and interpretation in reading historical events. There is two sources that say it is Butuan and also Limasawa. First one is the Albo's log. Francisco Albo is one of the pilot of Magellan's ship, which is Trinidad. He is also one of the survivor who maintained a journal of the voyage. I can say that his work is too short because it only focused on the location of the expedition on certain dates, while Antonio Pigabetta, they said it was the complete reference which is stated the first voyage of the world. He is like Albo, also part of the Magellan's expedition and eyewitness of, of the events, particularly the first mass. The first mass happened on March 31, 1521, and Magellan is the one who ordered the mass to be celebrated and officiated by Father Pedro Valderrama, the Andalusian chaplain of the fleet or the only prize. All I can say is the first mass that happened on March 31, 1521 take place in Limasawa because Pigafetta shows every detail or a complete detail of all the happenings on the first voyage of Magellan compared to Francisco Albo's account. It is too short and focuses only on the expedition. Uh, Now let's discuss first the account of Francisco Albo that will be discussed by Cyril Dakis.
So in Albo's log, he said on March 1521, when they sailed from the western part of the Ladrones, they saw land towards the northwest, but it had a shallow place, so they could not approach. And they just found out that the name of that place was Yunagan. They went instead to the same south to a small island with the name of Suluan. And there they anchored. They saw some canoes there, but it escaped when the Spaniards approached them. He added that this island is said to be 9 and 2/3 degrees north latitude. When they left the two islands, they sailed to the western part of the uninhabited island of Gada when they took wood and water. The sea around that is far from shallow. It is said that Albo did not give latitude to the island, but from Pigapeta's testimony, the Aquada or Homonmon has 10 degrees north latitude. They sailed again to the big name of island which is called the Ceylani Island, inhabited and domed with gold. Pigapetta say it is called Ceylon Island of Leyte. After sailing up the south coast of Ceylani, they turned southwest to a small island called Masaba, with latitude 9 and 2/3 degrees north. So, based on the analysis of latitude in the location and description, Albo's account would fit to the location of Limasawa Island, and that was the southern tip of Leyte. So, Albo's account would actually tell us it was there in Limasawa. So, where did the first Catholic Mass take place in the Philippines? Butuan or in Limasawa? I stand in Limasawa. because as of now, on July 15, 2020, National Historical Commission of the Philippines Board of Commissioners signed a resolution number 2 adopting or affirming that the site of the first mass happened in Limasawa. Till now, there is still room for research in the issue. There's still room for a lot of questions.
6. According to Alba, Spaniards planted across a pan in a mountain top, and from they can see the three islands to the west and southwest, where they were told to have many golds. Number 7. From Mazaba, they sailed northwards again towards, they follow the coast there in the northwest direction, ascending up to 10 degrees latitude, where they saw three islands. Number 8. From the westward, sang 10 language and saw the three islets, where they occur at night. In the nooming day, went southwest 12 language down to latitude of 1/3 degrees. They entered the channel between two islands, or was called Matan and other Subu. Number 9. They went through the channel and went westward at a court Angkor at the town La Villa of Cebu, where they stayed many days and entered peace back of the local king. Number 10. The town of Cebu was on the east-west direction, which is the island of Suluan and Masaba. But between Masaba and Cebu, they need to in a roundabout. Why? Because there are many shallows that the boat could not westward directly. My stand is, according to Albus account, the location of Masaba, it is the location of the Limawasa. So, first stand is having the first mass held in Limawasa, because he also mentioned the planting of the cross upon a mountain top, which could be three islands to the west and southwest, that also fit the southwest end of Limawasa.
Pigafetta's testimony on the route of Magellan expedition. Saturday, March 16, 1521. Magellan expedition sighted a high land named Samal, which was some 300 leagues westward of Ladrones Islands. Sunday, March 17. The following day, after sighting Samal Islands, they landed on another island which was uninhabited, and which lay to the right of the above-mentioned island of Samal. To the right, here would mean on their starboard, going south or southwest. They set up 2 tents for the 6 members of the crew, and had also killed for them. The name of this island is Yumunu. This island was located at 10 degrees north latitude. On that same day, March 17, Sunday, Magellan named the entered archipelago the island of St. Lazarus. The reason being that it was Sunday in Lenten season, when the gospel assigned the mass and the liturgical office was the 11th chapter of St. John, which tell of the rising of Lazarus from the dead. Monday, March 18. In the afternoon of their second day on that island, they saw a boat coming towards them with 9 men in it. An exchange of gift was effected. Magellan asked for food supply, and the men went away, promising to bring rice and other supplies in 4 days. There were 2 springs of water on that island of Yomonhon. They also saw There's some indication that there was in gold in this island. Consequently, Magellan renamed the island and called it the watering place of good omen. Friday, March 22. At the noon, natives returned. This time, they were in 2 boats and they brought food supplies. Where did the first Catholic Mass take in the Philippines? Butuan or Limasawa? I will stand in Limasawa. The first document Catholic in the Philippines was held on March 31, 1521, Eastern Sunday. It was located at Limasawa. It was conducted by Padre Pedro de Baldamera.
Number 7. Magellan expedition stayed 8 days at Homonhon, from Sunday, March 17 to the Monday of the following week, March 25. So, Sunday, 17th of March, the following day after sighting Zama Island, they landed on another island, which was uninhabited and which lay to the right of the above-mentioned island of Samal. There they set up 2 tents for the sick member of the crew and had a sow killed for them. The name of island was Homonhon, and this is when they found the watering place of good sign, the first sign of gold in the island. On the same day, Magellan named Enter Archipelago the island of St. Lazarus. They left the island on March 25. Number 8. Monday, March 25 in the afternoon, the expedition weighed anchor and left island of Homonhon. In the calendar, this March 25 was the feast day of the Incarnation and also the feast of Annunciation and therefore Our Lady's Day. On this day, as they were about to weigh anchor, an accident happened to Pigafetta. He fell into the water but was rescued, and so on. So, on Monday of Passion Week, the 25th of March, and it's also the feast of Our Lady, in the afternoon and being ready to depart from the place, Pigafetta went to the side of their ship to fish, and putting his feet on a spar to go down to the storeroom. His feet slipped, because it had rained, and he fell into the sea without anyone seeing him. And being near drowning by luck, he found at his left hand the sheet of the large sail which was in the sea. He caught a hold of it until someone came to help him and picked Pigafetta up with the boat. He was assisted, not by his merits, but by the mercy and grace of the fountain of pity. Number 9. From that island, they sailed westward toward a large island named Ceylani, which was inhabited and was known to have gold. Ceylani, or Pigafetta calls it Ceylon, was the island of Leyte. Sailing southward along the coast of the large island of Ceylani, they turned southwest to a small island called Masawa. That island is also a latitude of 9 2/3 degree north. From Masaba, they sailed northward again toward Ceylani. They followed the coast of Ceylani in a northwesterly direction, ascending up to the 10 degrees of latitude where they saw three small islands. Number 10, on March 28, 1521, while at the sea, they saw bonfire which turned out to be Limasawa, where they anchored. The island sovereign ruler was Raha. When Magellan and comrades set foot on the grounds of Limasawa, he befriended the Raha together with his brother Raha Rolambo of Butuan. In those days, it was customary among the indigenous and in most Southeast Asia to seal friendship with blood compact. On instigation of Magellan, who had heard Malayan term of it, the new friends performed the ritual. This was the first recorded blood compact between Filipinos and Spaniards. Gifts were exchanged by the two parties when the celebration has ended.
They remained 7 days in Masawa Island. At their first day, March 28, which is we celebrate it as Holy Thursday, they anchored near an island and a small boat came with 8 natives to whom Magellan threw some trinkets. In the afternoon of that day, the Spanish ship weighed anchor and came closer to the shore near the native king's village. On the second day, March 29, Holy Friday, Magellan sent his slave interpreter to ask the king about food supplies, and he also said that they came as a friend, not as an enemies. Another exchange of gifts was made, and they bring two members of Magellan's expedition as a guest. On the third day, March 30, Saturday, Pigafetta and his companion spent the previous evening feasting and drinking with the native king and his son. Pigafetta and his companion took leave on their hosts and returned to the ships. March 31, Sunday. Early in the morning, Magellan sent the priest with some men to prepare for the Mass. Later in the morning, Magellan landed with 15 men and Mass was celebrated. Magellan and the Spaniard returned to the ship for the noonday meal. In the afternoon, they returned to plant the cross on the summit of the highest hill. On their fifth day, April 1, no work was done because the two kings were sleeping off their drinking bout the night before. On April 2 and 3, Tuesday and Wednesday, they work on the harvest. April 4, Thursday, they left Masawa, bound for Cebu. They were guided thither by King of Masawa, who sailed in his own boat. Their route took them past 5 islands, namely Ceylon, Bohol, Canighan, Baybay, and Katighan. At Katighan, they sailed westward to the 3 islands of the Camotes group, namely Poro, Pasihan, and Ponson. Here the Spanish ships stopped to allow the king of Masawa to catch up with them, since the Spanish ships were much faster than the native Balanghay, a thing that excited the admiration of the king of Masawa. From the Camotes Islands, they sailed southwards towards Cebu. April 7, Sunday, at noon they entered the harbor of Cebu. It had taken them 3 days to negotiate the journey from Masawa northwards to the Camotes Islands and then southwards to Cebu. It must be pointed out that both Albo and Pigafetta's testimonies coincide and corroborate each other. Pigafetta gave more details on what they did during their week-long stay on Masawa.
Primary source, Pegapeta and 7 days in Mazawa. It was Thursday in Halloween. In the morning, They anchored near an island where they had seen in a light the night before a small boat came with 8 natives to whom Magellan threw some trinkets as presents. The natives paddled away, but 2 hours later, two larger boats or balanghay came, in one of which the native king sat under an awning of mats. At Magellan's invitation, some of the natives went up the Spanish ship, but the natives' king remained seated in his own boat. An exchange of gifts was effected. In the afternoon that day, the Spanish ships weighed anchor and came closer to shore, anchoring near the natives' king village. That was Friday, March 29. Next day, it was Holy Friday. Magellan sent his slave interpreter inshore in a small boat to ask the king if he could provide the expedition with food supplies, and to say that they had come as friends and not as enemies. In reply, the king himself came in a boat with 6 or 8 men, and this time went up Magellan's ship, and the two men embraced. Another exchange of gifts was made. The native king and his companions returned inshore, bringing with them 2 members of Magellan's expedition. As guests for the night, one of the two was Pigafetta. And it's Saturday, March 30. Pigafetta and his companion had spent the previous evening feasting and drinking with the native king and his son. Pigafetta deplored the fact that, although it was Good Friday, they had to eat meat. The following morning, it is a Saturday, Pigafetta and his companion took leave of their host and returned to the ships.
Where did the first Catholic Mass take place in the Philippines? There are only two primary sources that historians refer to in identifying the first Mass. One is the primary sources of Francisco Albuslag, and the other one is the most complete and reliable account of Antonio Pigafetta, which is deemed as the only credible primary source of reports on the celebration of the first Christian Mass on Philippine soil. Based on the documents presented, the first Catholic Mass in the Philippines was held on March 31, 1521, Easter Sunday, led by Father Pedro de Valderan. But the question is, where exactly the first Catholic Mass take place in the Philippines? According to Antonio Pigafetta, which is one of the eyewitnesses in the Magellan's expedition, March 25, they sailed westward towards Leyte, then southward, passing the islands of Hibuson and Hunangan Bay, then westward to Mazawa Island. And in the following days, Antonio Pigafetta also recounted the events that took place on the island of Mazawa during their stay there for 7 days. These events includes the visits of the two native kings on that island, the first mass occurred on that island, and the planting of cross participated by the king of Mazawa and the king of Butuan. And after that, they leave Mazawa bound for Cebu. And according to Pigafetta's account, Mazawa is an island lying off the southwestern tip of Leyte, and the Masao in Butuan City, where some scholars said that it was the Masawa that Pigafetta mentioned in his account is not an island, but a barangay in Butuan City, located in the delta of the Agusan River along the coast of northern Mindanao. And the position of Mazawa, as plotted by Pigafetta, matched that of Limasawa.
The Age of Exploration. The era known as the Age of Exploration, sometimes called the Age of Discovery, officially began in early as 16th century and lasted through the 17th century. The period is characterized as a time when Europeans began exploring the world by sea in search of trading, roads, wealth, and knowledge. The impact of the age of exploration would permanently alter the world and transform geography into the modern science today. Massive wealth accrued to European colonizers due to trade in goods, spices, and precious metals. Methods of navigation and mapping improved, switching from traditional portolan charts to the world's first nautical maps. New food, new plant, new animal were exchanged between the colonized and Europe.